All right, and we are live in three, two, one. Hi, everybody. How many of you are very excited to meet somebody who's been part of MBA Litmus, part of IIM Lucknow, and going to be part of McKinsey, one of the क्या बोलूं मैं top consulting firm in the country, number one consulting firm in the country, McKinsey. So, guys, for all people who are preparing for MBA, a lot of people prepare for MBA. A few people get into B schools. A lot of people get into B schools. A few people get into IIM Lucknow. A lot of people get into IIM Lucknow, a few people get into consulting, a lot of people get into consulting, very few get into McKinsey, and one of those few is part of our, MBA Litmus family, one of our students in the past, mentors to a lot of people at MBA Litmus in the past couple of years. Let me welcome Nandita. Nandita, how are you doing today? And it's so happy to see you going to McKinsey. It's absolutely a proud and a very happy moment for all of us. And welcome. How are you doing today?
Hi, thank you so much, sir, for that amazing, brilliant entry that you've done for me. And definitely, it really feels back to come to your alma mater that, some of the seeding stages of my journey has been through this platform. So it really feels good to come back and, share my experiences with all the other students because I know I was in that position one day. So being here, I would like to share something that can really help them.
Absolutely, absolutely. In fact, guys, one quick announcement for a lot of people who are going to do GDPI this season. You are also going to get a lot of guidance and hand holding from Nandita, and it's going to be absolutely amazing. But GDPI ke pehle, let's come to the big news first. McKinsey. Nandita, how do people get into consulting? If you could talk a little bit about your journey of consulting. 2 years, how did you plan your journey at IIM Lucknow? फिर हम बात करेंगे हाउ डिड यू गेट इनटू आईएम लखनऊ, फिर हम बात करेंगे कैट प्रिपरेशन एक्सेट्रा. बट entire 2 years, how do you plan? जितने लोग कंसल्टिंग में जाना चाहते हैं, स्पेशली पीपल हु वांट टू make careers in consulting, McKinsey is the dream for everyone, right? So how do you make that dream come true?
Okay, so I think my starting point was when I'd entered college. I previously was into marketing, but I wanted to switch. So I did not know where to go, which direction to take. And of course, your college seniors will every time help you with that. And for me, I was always inclined towards communication, problem solving, all of these things. So consulting came as a natural inclination for me there. However, in campuses, it is also one of the most talked about thing that consulting is something that we are aiming for. So, of course, when I went there, I realized that yes, this is something that I would like to pursue. But the journey to getting into consulting was definitely something that I still remember as one of the that is a very steep learning curve for me. So, yeah, that is been
Absolutely.
there.
Yeah. So
Hmm.
basically, what is the kind of profile required for consulting for people who are
Hmm.
wanting to get into B school? So, Nandita, a
Hmm.
lot of people listening to us,
Hmm.
people who've been part of MBA Litmus, people who are, part of the, for example, the YouTube family also, and
Hmm.
primarily people would want to, see themselves in, shining amongst the top, consulting firms. How do they effectively plan their journey in the 2 years once they get into the B school to get into a
Hmm.
top firm? How do they
Hmm.
start building the profile? What is the kind of profile a top
Hmm.
recruiter like McKinsey is looking at?
Yeah, sure. So I would speak for consulting in general that they're looking for a very balanced CV across, that in every section, it should be equal across. So, of course, starting with your ACADS, ACADS really matter for consulting because they're looking for people who have shown that kind of consistency through grades. So that is one. And consulting always talks about impact. So that's one impact that they naturally check. Then we get to education section where they're looking at any kind of research, Olympiads, quizzes, competitions, and a lot of B school competitions there that you've done. So they look for these kind of achievements and any kind of awards and academically inclined things that you might have done. Then we talk about the work experience, which includes any kind of relevant for example, any kind of previous consulting or communication or any other field where you have shown that you have taken that networking effect into hand and managed stakeholders. So that, and it also counts for other things, other industry exposures like internships, life projects, or any other projects that you might have done at a different scale than your work ex. Then we come to the POR sections. It is very important because that shows your initiative taking skills, your leadership skills, wherein you show that how you have led some kind of initiatives, which is very important in consulting because you have to handhold your client actually. And finally, we come to the extracurricular sections, wherein, like, obviously, consulting really feels good to take people that have some kind of national, district, or international, for that matter, related achievements. But I get that everyone might not have that. But it is good to show your interests in this extracurricular achievements that you might have done previously and might have been awarded for. Um, and one thing that is common for consulting CVs is that they look for spikes. So any other thing that stands out, like for you, it is like a customized thing for you. For example, for me, it was my entrepreneurial experience. It was also my ECA that had a lot of social work. So social work is also valued in consulting. So anything else like music or any other thing that you might have picked up and that is very personal to you. So create a spike for your CV.
Yeah.
So I think the starting point would be to actually go through your CV and see which is the bucket that actually needs attention, and then you have the time to actually build on it.
Yeah. So somebody, let's say Nandita, who does
Hmm,
not have very stellar profile,
hmm.
can they really do it in 2 years within the MBA? Is it possible for them to really scale up to a level where a McKinsey even gives them a shortlist, let alone a selection into their consulting roles?
Yes, definitely it is possible because as we say that during MBA you get exposure to so many things that are there to be done. And I'm speaking from experience because in my summers I did not get like McKinsey shortlist. I did not even get BCG, Bain. I had one shortlist of Carney, but afterwards in my 2 years I built my profile across these buckets so that I could get a McKinsey shortlist and finally converted as well.
Yeah. In fact, Nandita, a lot of people, once they get into the B school, they may not get a MBB shortlist, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Uh, but,
Correct.
can they create, an opportunity towards the finals? For example, a lot
Hmm.
of people who, might be watching this video who are in their first terms at respective B schools.
Hmm.
And maybe many people, a lot of people from IIM Lucknow would also be listening to this. So, I think a great inspiration in you. How do you look at that?
Hmm. I feel that there's ample of scope and opportunity that is thrown at you at a B school because there are so many things that are happening that you get to pick and choose which one you want to build on. So for me, it was building on my leadership skills by getting into a consulting club at my college. I was also involved in sports because sports was something that was missing on my CV, and I've always loved to do that. So I got myself involved into that. As I mentioned, grades are always that first check for a CV. So I made sure that I am being consistent with my grades. It's not important that you're a topper or something, but you should have that good grade band for your CV. So I think again, see for yourself that what is it that is missing on your CV. I was a fresher. I did not have work experience, so I made sure that I'm picking up some kind of internship, some life projects during these 2 years of course to actually add on to some credentials to my CV.
Yeah, in fact, to add
Hmm,
to that, as I had mentioned already, guys, Nandita has also mentored a lot of people. In fact, a lot
hmm,
of juniors, people getting into the B school, last
hmm.
year, she had been a mentor also, with MBA Litmus, helped so many people immensely. And Nandita, thank you so much for that. But you must, come in this season as well and help out a lot of people as well.
Sure, definitely. I would love to do that because it always feels good because I've been there. So yeah.
Yeah. So, Anita, specifically, I think talking about McKinsey, I can go on and my questions would never end.
Hmm,
And I believe that I'd also pick up a few questions. So, guys, if in case you have any questions to Nandita, feel free, drop in the chat, and I'd just pick it up for you and ask Nandita. Nandita, talking about, let's say, apart from amazing packages and everything.
hmm,
What else do people look at when they want to get into consulting?
hmm. Okay, so one thing is the kind of differential industrial exposure that you get because in consulting you have clients and projects in different sectors. So you get to work with different sectors. You might not have previous experience, so you also understand what is your kind of liking. That is one of the things that has helped me because I never had exposure to any kind of work experience. So now I get to experience that for shorter projects and then get to decide. So that helps for your career progression. Secondly, in consulting, like networking, the kind of networking that you get to do because you are connected to so many people and from across industries. So this channel and this bond that you create for yourself, it actually helps you to develop in any kind of field that you want to. So
Yeah.
these two things definitely. And of course, everyone must have heard that traveling. So if you really want to travel, then yes, of course, consulting would be for you.
Absolutely. I think traveling
Hmm.
is something that, I think most people would know that, beyond a point, you start, saying no to the travel. But
True,
I think if you love the job, you would travel for the job, not just travel for traveling, I believe.
true. But I
So,
think people aspect really stands out, the kind of connections that you make, the kind of
yes.
learnings that you draw from people. That I think is of immense value for me.
Absolutely. And in fact, a lot of people, one thing I do not know whether you noticed or not, but
Hmm.
Nandita mentioned that she, she's a fresher, right? Went into a college as a fresher, 2 years. She did her internship with Carney, which is again one of the top, consulting firms. Typically people look at MBBK, when they are looking for consulting opportunities. And then obviously you
Hmm.
have the other opportunities also in Accenture, Deloitte, etc. And then she scaled up and went into McKinsey as well. Nandita, tell us a little bit about how was your experience at McKinsey. You did your you I think that the entire learning experience you have cases. So what is the process like in terms of getting selected at McKinsey? I think the
Hmm.
journey itself is very amazing, right? They take you to
Hmm.
a lot of fancy parties. So tell us about all the jazziness.
Correct. So I think it is again a holistic process to check different skills that you have. So, for example, of course, it starts with your CV shortlisting. So you need to keep your resume well balanced, show spikes, show differential aspects and advantages that you have in your CV because your CV is speaking for yourself first. Then, of course, comes the stage of dinners and various buddy rounds that we have in which you get to meet the people who are making McKinsey or making the consulting firm what it is. So in those dinners, you actually get to network with people, learn and showcase your skills, which could be related to communication, structuring, etc. And it is actually a very practical kind of an experience because it's not just like through some screen or anything. You're meeting those people and putting yourself out there. That is there. And then, of course, the interview round, which has two aspects to it. First being the case solving, which I think we can deep dive into how to prepare and all. And second is the behavioral personal interviews that you have, wherein they check your personality and your skills, if they align, if your values align with the firm's, if the kind of qualities you have align with the firm. And then, of course, you get a convert uh, to like
Absolutely.
following this. Yeah.
Absolutely. So Nanta, briefly for people, let's say, who are inside the B schools and getting started with the preparation for consulting, how would
Hmm.
you advise them to start with their consulting prep in terms of case solving?
Sure. So, case solving has three aspects to it. First, being that you know the case types. There are essentially five, six major case types that you should know. And we can discuss this. We'll come back to this. Second, is the guesstimates, which is a very famous term for consulting. And thirdly, it is the industry knowledge. So a lot of industry primers are there in casebooks, which you should be knowing of. As I mentioned, that you get exposure to different industries. So you must know while preparation what are the things that are happening in those industries, etc. Coming back to the first one, that is the different case types. I think I started my prep by picking up a casebook. I had my own college's casebook, and then I went through the structures to see actually what the content is. It starts, so it's always better to know what you are going to experience. So there are five major case structures, starting with profitability, wherein you get to actually understand how the structuring in cases is done, how you have to frame your questions, etc. Then we move on to market entry. Then there's growth and go to market. Then we have mergers and acquisition. And finally, we get to business abstract cases. So I think a very base would be through profitability, because here you actually understand how to MECE, which is a very common term, and how to frame the exact structure for a case, because your structure gives shape to your case solving, which is very important. And while case solving, it is always very important to know that it is a two-way communication that you have to drive. It's not just that the other person is just speaking and you're listening and you're just focusing on solving. You should have that communication that it becomes an interesting thing for them to solve the case with you, and not that you are just solving it. So I think those are the things. I think three metrics that one should be very careful of while they're solving the case would be, which has helped me as well, that you should always take care of your communication, how you're delivering, how you're speaking with the mentor or the interviewee. Then second being your problem solving skills, that how well and deep dive you are doing into the exact problem. And finally, how you are structuring it. So these are the three things that you should be very aware of, and it does not come within a day, it does not come to you naturally. Also, you have to develop these skills, and that happens through case preparation. I would suggest two ways to it again. First, take direction from your seniors, reach out to certain committees that are there at your college who help you to prepare for such things. And second would be to create certain groups within college, peer groups, which help you in learning, administer a case to them and ask them to administer, and then get back to the case book and check how others have solved it. So that would really help you to develop these key skills that are needed to solve the case.
Absolutely. That was very comprehensive, Nandita. And guys, to all the people who are listening to us, I think if somebody is, telling you very specifically that these are the three things that you have to do, you need to bucket it in 5 ways, right? There are only 2 ways of effectively looking at it. Then you should understand that you're talking to a consultant. Right? So I think that's how you identify. How do you identify a
Yeah,
consultant if you
yeah.
find, at the airport or in a flight? Right. So I think that's
Fair.
that's a couple of things to
Mm.
everybody. Nandita, before we move to the next section, which is about your inputs in terms of preparation in the last 4 months and also GDPI, what I'd take a couple of questions. One very common
Sure.
question that comes in: what about gap years? A lot of people who have gap years, does it give them
Mm.
a lot of disadvantage?
Hmm. Okay, I don't think so, because I myself had one gap year, but you have to justify what you did in that gap year. It is not important that you've done some internship in that time. It could be anything. You just need to see where it fits for you in your CV. For example, you've learned to play the guitar. So just show that in your CV, in your extracurriculars. For me, it was my entrepreneurial experience. I That helped me. So you need to justify what you did in that gap year. It could be some kind of certifications that you could have done, some kind of like knowledge development. So just justify what you have done in that gap year.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Hmm.
In fact, Nandita, one question is about case competitions. So, do you
Hmm.
think case competitions are helpful in terms of developing a spike or maybe helping in terms of getting a shortlist?
Yes, definitely, because that shows your problem solving skills firsthand. And for recruiters as well, they know that this is one thing at these schools that can literally reflect how well your consulting skills or problem solving skills are. So that definitely helps to have a bucket, or maybe having a case competition bucket, maybe in your acads or in your extracurriculars.
Understood.
Hmm.
Um, a lot of people.
Also, just one thing, there are also a lot of branded case competitions that happen. So that ultimately increases your CV's credibility, right? To have some brands on your name. For example, if you're a fresher and you've done a case comp with any ABC company, which is of high credibility, so gives credibility to your CV as well, that if you've cracked that, then definitely there's something to see for this in CV.
Absolutely. Somebody also talks about spikes, Nandita. So, what do you mean by spikes? And if you could talk a
Hmm.
little bit more about it, how do you develop spikes?
Okay. So spikes are some things that could be just like unique to your CV, or something that really stands out. And you might have done it across in a lot of things. So, for example, maybe you are really into content creation. You've done it on LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, etc. You've done it for brands. You've done it for yourself as well. You've done it in your like UG also for a committee. So you put together all of that experience that you have related to that one thing, which is content creation, and show it as a spike that I have done this across so many years to show consistency as well as to show that there's something that you really stand out for. It could be anything, it could be your social experience, some music related things, sports, etc. Could anything which you've like really consistently done or like done it for a very good scale, it could become a spike for you.
Absolutely. So I think I'm hoping that part is clear. All
Hmm.
right. So, okay. Does past experience in consulting help, Nandita? Somebody who is from a consulting, background, is that considered while giving a shortlist?
Yes, definitely. In your your relevant work experience does matter. If it is branded again, it adds credibility, but you need to show your skills. So it's okay if you do not even have a branded experience. It's okay to show the impact that you created because that is more important than the activity that you've done. So always keep your sentences such that you're not so very common term in MBA is globe that you're not globing in your sentence, just saying that I have done, like, I manage a lot of stakeholders. Just put it to numbers and show exactly what you did to manage them, how you manage them, and what came out of that. So, like, you have one sentence of space to show these three critical aspects for that one skill, which is stakeholder management.
Absolutely. In fact, by the time many of you get into a B school and come out, you might see Nandita in one of the recruitment drives also. If in case you make it to, if in case you make it to McKinsey shortlists. So, all the best with that. And you met
Yeah.
Nandita, you can, make her remember that. So that might be helpful. Another thing which
Right,
helps is reference. Okay.
of course.
Yeah. So, guys, I think that is a little bit about consulting. We can keep going on and on. We can have Nandita, come over again as well. But let me also ask you, Nandita, last approximately 110, odd days left. How would you recommend people do about the next 100 days, 110 days of their preparation? What did you do that was helpful, especially planning the last uh, 4 months?
Hmm. I think tracking your progress and your entire journey is very important in these 100 odd days because you get to, like, it's not just about doing. It's about focus. That where is that focus which is needed, and you need to see what has been your progress like. So, tracking really helps to understand that where you should steer your focus to. So I think firstly, I would recommend that you sit back, go through the mock scores that you might have had, and also through all of your revision notes, and then see what is working for you and what is not, and where you need to focus next. That is one thing. Secondly, I always made revision notes while my cat prep, and I made it a point that every weekend or set any duration and go back to them. That will come handy to you on your daily because those things really strike you because you've like repeatedly put that and fed that to your mind. So I think revision is very important. Even if you've done it, just go through it again and again. Third is like creating those simulations of the D-Day from now on, because it is not just about solving those 100 questions, 80 questions that are there. It is also about handling that entire situation. You are really under pressure, that one shot that should be perfect, etc. So that really needs to work out well for you. So create simulations and then test how you are handling the pressure, what is working for you, and then create the path for yourself. Did I lose you there?
Yeah, I think we gapped you a little bit, but
Oh,
Nandita,
sorry, sorry.
please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Yes, yes. So मैंने तीन चीजें mention करी थी. Where did we end?
So I think we were discussing about the third thing. So we talked about, being focused in the preparation, and
Tracking and then yeah, okay, the third thing that I was talking about was creating simulations of the D-Day, because it is not just about solving those 80 100 questions that are there, but it is also about balancing a lot of things, that is time management, your skills, etc. So just create those simulations, just give it in one space, 2 hours back to back, and take mocks to actually understand what is working well for you while solving and what is not, because you also need to handle that pressure of solving those three sections. So try to create that and get into the habit of giving cat.
Understood. Also, Nandita, what's your take on taking mocks? How frequent did you do the mocks, and how did you analyze the mocks? What's your suggestion about mocks?
I think like we have 4 months right now. So
Yes.
during this time, I think I focused on giving the mocks during the weekends, because 5 days I was brushing up my concepts and everything, and weekends I would take for mocks. And always it is very important to analyze those mocks, because it's not just about giving it, but also to again know what went well, what did not go well, and what you need to work on next. So that, and then making your relevant plan for yourself for the subsequent week that is coming up. So that, I think, for 1 or 1.5 months you can do that, and after that I would suggest that alternatively, or like in 3 days you should take a mock, because that again helps you to be very accustomed to this kind of setting that you're going to have during CAT. So that is the kind of frequency that I would suggest.
Absolutely. And finally, I'm hoping that guys, if in case you have any questions to Nandita regarding her preparation, you can absolutely go on. Nandita, if you talk a little bit about QA, DLR, VRC also,
Hmm.
I remember you being good. In fact, you also mentioned being good in DILR.
Right.
Some people are good with QA, some people are good with VRC. So how do you recommend balancing it out? Do you think the focus should be on strength, focus should be on weakness at this point in time? How do you look at that?
I think whichever section you feel that you have it as a weakness, just within that also try to see which are those things that you always like lack. So for me, in it was QA, and modern maths was something that I was unable to like do till the end of the day. So I thought that I would rather focus on the other things which I'm like becoming thoda sa comfortable with, and focus there rather than doing that one thing which is like picking me down. So like focused effort really helped me. And of course, strengths पे तो you need to keep on developing. So थोड़ा सा I gave थोड़ा lesser time to LRDI because वो ज़्यादा easily and faster हो जाता था. And QA, because the content was too much, वो थोड़ा ज़्यादा time I used to give to that, because it had content and then practical application. So that's how I went about it. But if you think that VARC is something, VARC I think was swift for me, but I always felt that needed practice, practice, practice. So like time your day in a way that you are giving that time of the day in which you have the max focus to your weakness. So whenever you feel that after lunch, let's say I am like very energized, then I would give that to QA. And once I'm done with the QA, I would get to LRDI because that I was very comfortable with. And then I would take a break and then do my VARC. But I think doing all three is very important, because you cannot just leave. If you think that you're very good at VARC, just don't leave it, because you do not want to go out of practice. Just keep doing all three all the time.
Absolutely. I think that was very well put,
Hmm.
Nandita. Guys, I'm hoping that part is clear. Finally, one piece, Nandita, which is going to also come in, the entire GDPI season. What was
Hmm.
it like for you? How did you go about your preparation? And also, what's your suggestion to all the people who are looking at, the GDPI season right after CAT?
Uh, you're specifically asking for GDPI or CAT?
I'm primarily asking, in terms of CAT, you understood
Hmm.
how did you go about your preparation and what's your suggestion to the people?
Hmm.
In terms of GDPI also, how do you look at the preparation? What should be the
Hmm.
focus for a lot of people who might watch this video a little later also?
Right.
A lot
Right.
of people, may find this in
Hmm.
December,
Hmm.
that a consultant from McKinsey is talking about something interesting, so might listen to this as well.
Yeah.
So,
Sure.
what's your take on
Hmm.
GDPI preparation, Nandita?
Okay, I feel that the starting point for me was realizing what I have done. So you need to really document. I think first step was coming to you. So But then you need to take a step back and know all the things about yourself. Whatever you've done in life, you need to really sit and think and write about it. I think writing really helps because you need to think about any kind of difficult situations you've come across, conflicts, leadership, your UG, PG experience, everything. You need to just sit and think about those and know yourself the best. I think first thing is that you get to know about yourself. Second is, of course, if you've done any kind of work experience or any kind of relevant internship, knowing about things related to that, and again, getting back there. And then third thing is knowing the concepts that if you've done, for me, I've done BMS in marketing. So all the concepts that I've taught, that I've learned in college, I had to go back to them and like take a revision, a recap of those because those questions also get asked in your interviews. So first is knowing about yourself, then whatever you've studied, and finally about the normal concepts that you taught in MBA related to finance, economics, operations a little bit. So all of those, and of course you need to know about India, where you're coming from, etc. All of those things you need to know about. Hmm.
Perfect. So, guys, that
Hmm.
is, all about it. But before, finally, concluding the session, Nandita, what about the fun part at the B school? How's the fun at B school? You are obviously, coming fresh out of IIM Lucknow. There's been some time that I have been away. So why
Hmm.
don't you talk a little bit about the fun at MBA, especially
I
MBA and the top B schools in India?
I am really missing campus life because that was the time of my life. I've never had a campus life. So the campus life is super happening. Everything is just going on. There's no concept of time there, and you really enjoy like doing stuff here and there because it's just like one day and 100 odd things that are happening which you get to choose. So that is there. Then of course the party culture because we are like that we are in under so much of pressure, rigor, this, that. So we need to avoid ourselves with parties. So that is of course there. And finally the kind of connections that you make there, the kind of friendships that bloom out of those 3 a.m., 4 a.m. Study sessions, they're like one to cherish. So of course, and once you're back home and not like really seeing your friends every day, like every night, every day, you really miss all of those moments. And especially at I'm Lucknow, the mess food, the night mess food is
Nice.
really amazing. Yeah, the night mess is really amazing. I really miss it at nights when I'm working late and I do not know what to eat or what to order, or maybe I have to like get something for myself. And at those moments, I really miss my night mess.
Absolutely. And if in case you make it to IIM Lucknow, you get two amazing alumni absolutely free. Okay. So I think, guys, I'm hoping that this was absolutely amazing, so fun and amazing having you, Nandita. Such articulate representation. I think very, very happy. We covered so much in 40 minutes. I'm very, very happy with the kind of throughput of this session. And very amazing having you here. We, as I mentioned, we'd keep having you. And obviously, during GDPI, you have, a lot of weight on your shoulders this season as well. But you are a heavyweight champion, so I'm absolutely, happy and confident about the kind of outcomes that we're going to do in the GDPI season this season as well. Guys,
Right.
that was Nandita, going to McKinsey, and I'm hoping to see many of you here in the upcoming seasons as well. Gives me so much happiness, and I feel so proud to have such amazing people who've been part of the family. Thank you, Nandita, for making it today. And God
Uh,
bless, take care. And any parting thoughts that you would want to tell all these
uh,
lovely people before they go?
Yes, thank you so much, firstly, sir, for having me here. And of course, like as I also mentioned, that the starting steps were with you. So, of course, it's a family that we have created. So, thank you so much for again inviting and sharing. Secondly, I would just suggest people to be very confident with yourself. Do not look at others' preparation, etc. Just focus on yourself. There are strengths, weaknesses for everyone, and just dwell on your strengths and just compound on those, so that will really help. And it's tension mat lo, everything gets figured out, and jo bhi hoga acha hi hoga. So just keep at it and be consistent.
Absolutely. Guys, if in case you found it helpful, do make sure to you like this and share it with everybody. I think a lot of important elements with respect to consulting and CAT preparation. So if you believe that people aiming at consulting, I think this is one of the best videos they would find to effectively get started, and also for people wanting to get into a top B school like IIM Lucknow. Thank you, Nandita, for coming in. Thank you for all the amazing insights. God bless you, and I'll see you again very, very soon. Take care.
Thank you, sir. Bye bye. Good night. Good night, everyone.
God bless, guys. Take care, and bye bye.